Hello everyone, welcome to Full Moon Movies. Crime is a disease, meet the cure. That tagline stamped Cobra into a pop culture memory when it hit theaters in 1986. Directed by George P. Cosmatos and starring Sylvester Stallone, Cobra isn't a film that tries to hide what it is. Instead, it's a lean, gritty, high-octane police thriller from a Reagan era carved from the same rock as Dirty Harry but polished for the MTV generation. With Arrow Video's 4K remaster, Cobra gets a second chance to raw, cleaner, sharper, and louder than ever before. At the heart of Cobra is Lieutenant Marion Cobretti, a no-nonsense shade-swearing cop with a custom Colt and a muscle car to match. In fact, Stallone wrote the screenplay himself, reworking elements from his unused draft for Beverly Hills Cop, and shaped Cobretti into an idealized extension of a lone wolf archetype. Cobretti doesn't play by the book, but he's not a wild gun either. He's a controlled tactical and a strange code of ethics rooted in justice, not bureaucracy. It's this juxtaposition that draws the audience in. Stallone plays himself with a dry charisma, delivering stone-faced one-liners like "You are the disease and I'm the cure," with utter conviction that makes them linger in the viewer's mind long after the credits roll. Supporting characters like Ingrid by Brigitte Nielsen, a fashion model caught in the crosshairs of a neo-fascist cult, give the film just enough emotional texture. Rennie Santoni's role as Sergeant Gonzalez adds a buddy cop dynamic without ever stealing the spotlight. The villains are more symbolic than complex, particularly Night Slasher by Brian Thompson, who represents the pure chaos Cobra exists to eliminate. He's not just a murderer, he's a movement, part of a group that believes in weeding out the weak through bloodshed. While not fully fleshed out, the cult's presence brings an eerie, almost dystopian undertone to the story, making it feel larger than a typical cop versus killer plot. Key scenes burn themselves into memory. The grocery store hostage standoff in the opening scene is a masterclass in setting the tone. Cobretti walks in while everyone else is ducking, cool and collected, dismantling the situation with brutal precision. The high-speed car chase through the industrial dockyards is another standout, showcasing Cosmatos' knack for kinetics movement and Stallone's commitment to stunt-heavy realism. The film act, set in a molten steel factory, is visually gripping, pairing fire and shadow to a stage of a primeval confrontation between hero and villain. Andrew Lazzalo's cinematography uses neon lighting, tight framing, and wide-angle cityscapes to immerse the audience in a stylized Los Angeles that feels equals part of glam and grit. The night scenes are particularly evocative, soaked in blue and reds that give the film its moody, almost surreal aesthetic. The score by Sylvester Levay, with synthesized heavy inserts from Giorgio Moroder, injects energy into every chase and gunfight, while also knowing when to pull back and create suspense through silence and subtle ambient notes. The production design nails the era with detail. 80s cars, shopping malls, fashion, and tech all become visual shorthand for the film's period, but it's the art direction that gives Cobra its bite. There's a garage-like grittiness to every scene, a steel and smoke atmosphere that reinforces Cobretti's status as a lone mechanic in a broken societal engine. Clocking in at just 87 minutes, Cobra is unusually short for an action thriller, but the brevity became one of its strengths. It doesn't waste time with unnecessary exposition. It moves like a protagonist, fast, focused, and with no interest in red tape. This tight runtime paired with Stallone's rising star power post Rocky IV meant that Cobra delivered exactly what audiences expected: tough justice, stylish violence, and minimal nonsense. It went on to gross over 160 million worldwide on a 25 million budget, proving that audiences were craving Stallone as an unstoppable urban warrior. Still, critics at that time weren't kind. Many called it as fascistic, too violent, or cartoonishly thin in plot. Roger Ebert famously gave it just 2 stars, but in the hindsight, those critics missed the point. Cobra isn't just trying to be deep, it is a cinematic pulp, delivering a pure distillation of action movie fantasy with a tone so serious it veers into self parody. For fans of the genre, that's exactly the appeal. The Arrow Video 4K UHD release of Cobra gives the film the reverence it deserves. The Dolby Vision HDR transfer from the original camera negative brings out the deep shadows, metallic textures, and neon hues with stunning clarity. This is the best the film has ever looked. Grain is retained without being intrusive, and the nighttime scenes gain definition without losing mood. On the audio front, the DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 and the original stereo track give punch to the action sequences, especially the factory set finale, where every gunshot and scream echoes the crisp precision. The synthesized score by Levy is more immersive than ever, helping the atmosphere take on a near hypnotic quality. Arrow Video has packed this release with valuable extras. A new feature-length documentary titled Stalking and Slashing that explores the film's production history and Stallone's vision. An audio commentary from the film historians that place Cobra within the 80s action canon, interviews with cast and crew including Brian Thompson, who shares insights into his role as the night slasher, a reversible sleeve with original and newly commissioned artwork, plus a 40-page booklet containing essays and stills. Now, these inclusions offer context and analysis that elevate Cobra from a cult hit to a legitimate artifact of action cinema history. What makes Cobra still relevant today is its core theme: a lone figure standing against systemic inefficiency, fighting for swift justice in a world bogged down by moral ambiguity. In an age where audiences still crave heroes who act without compromise, Cobretti's brutal directness resonates. Whether you see him as a relic of the 80s conservatism or a timeless vigilante archetype, Cobra continues to ignite conversations and adrenaline. In conclusion, Cobra is more than a guilty pleasure. It's a pure expression of the 80s action cinema and an essential entry into Stallone's filmography. Arrow Video's 4K release gives it the definitive treatment it always deserved. For action fans, physical media collectors, and students of genre filmmaking, this package is both a throwback and a revelation. Now, this movie is a must-watch.